fix my gaze on HP until he gives in. Oh, now he's turned his back to me so I don't get started. Very smart man. Very well. So I want to start, first of all, by thanking everybody who's here. But I think none of this would be possible without our wonderful sponsors. So I'm not sure if the people who are from that organization, all of them are here, but I want to thank Midland Real Estate. Is our sponsor here by any chance? If not, thank you for doing that. I also want to thank Academic Collaboration for Excellence. That would be Dr. Lee Zhang. Is she here? She is here, I know that. She's helped organize this thing. So again, thank you very much, our sponsor. I want to thank Civic Leadership USA, without whose sponsorship, half of what we do would not be possible. And finally, I want to thank APAPA, both the national as well as the local chapter, because people put in lots of hours of their volunteer time to make things possible. So very excited about the program today. We're going to learn about what goes on in campaigns, in political campaigns from the inside, which is something that we rarely ever get to hear because we only see the outside, the outside displays from the campaign. And I really want to thank all our panelists, and I'll introduce them today as they come in. Now, is Bijoy Dutta, is he here? He's one of our panelists. Is he here yet? So he's going to be here a little bit later today, hopefully before panel time. But I see my other panelists here. So I want to start by introducing HP, who's there doing something else. So, okay, why don't we start with Akbar Khan, who's right here in front of us. Do you mind just standing here as I introduce you? So Akbar Khan is somebody who everybody here may be very familiar with. He's a familiar face with many, many community events. He's the president of the Pakistan Association, also volunteer extraordinaire for many, many other things. Akbar Khan is also, in his past life, he was a state employee. He used to work for Department of Health, and he had his master from SUNY Albany. So thank you, Akbar Khan, and do you mind just coming in and welcoming the group here? Thank you. I will keep time and tell you if you go over time.
Well, you have to make an exception, because I'm never slow. Assalamu alaikum, peace be upon all of you, and good morning. I guess left nothing for me really to introduce. I was going to welcome each and every one of you, but I still want to welcome each and every community leader who is here. I'd like to welcome HP and Ting Ting. She's somewhere, I don't see her, she is outside there. Thank you to Dr. Alia Saeed for coordinating and giving her time all the time. I wanted to welcome our senator, but I don't think he is here yet.
He's going to arrive later.
Yes, and I want to welcome lovely moderator Holly Lath. She's sitting right here in front. Let's give a hand. Bijoy is not here, right? He's not here. Okay. So I'd just like to take 2 minutes on leadership, because this is a leadership forum, and what I know of leadership and why this forum here. I think there are two kinds of leaders. One are born leaders. They are charismatic and rare. They are orators, and they can rally the masses behind them and achieve what they want. They can bring revolutions. Certainly, I'm not one of them, as you can tell. I'm not even a leader. I don't call myself a leader. But anyway, Then there's a second kind of leadership, which people who become leader out of their experience, knowledge, skills, training, etc. So that's also a large group of leaders. Those are the leaders we talk about, training and educating them, and so that they know what leadership is about and what role they can play. But we have different kinds of leaders even among them. Like there are business leaders, for example. There are leaders who take up a social cause and struggle for it all their lives, and I call them leaders too. They're very dedicated, hardworking individuals. But then we have political leaders, politicians. APAPA is concerned, and we like to train our youth and everyone else in this realm of civic leadership, as we call it, or political leadership, at all levels, because political leadership affects our lives throughout and at every level of government, whether it is state government, local government, or federal government. Therefore, we concentrate on politics. Every now and then, when you have a question, you say, well, why government does not do this thing, or why government does do this thing, it's not good for us. Or we say, well, we are 9% of maybe New York State's population in New York State, but where is our 9% budget going? We are just as good taxpayers as anyone else, and we work hard. But where's the share of our pie? Well, we are not represented. We don't have that power and voice. So how can we enhance that and get to some parity? It is through our training programs and workshops like this. So that's why APAPA and we all are together in this and trying to have every now and then these civic leadership forums. So with that, I'll end here and welcome again everyone. Thank you.
Abraham. He is such a thank you. Thank you very much. It is now my pleasure to introduce our next speaker, H.P. Wong. Dr. Wong? There he is. So anybody in this room who doesn't know Dr. Wong, come talk to me, because clearly, I think if you're in the API community in this area, you know Dr. Wong because of how much he does for us. He is allegedly retired. No, not really. Well, from GE he is. He was a scientist, a research scientist for GE, correct? What was your official last position?
Principal.
Principal, okay.
And chief technologist in Pratt.
Chief technologist in Pratt. So clearly, a lot of brain power here. He has more than 150 patents to his name. So we're very fortunate to have somebody as smart and driven as Dr. Wong, who leads us in our effort to bring some representation to the AAPI community in this area. So he is the chair or president or the head honcho or the go-to person for APAPA Albany. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good morning. Hey. I'm an Asian who likes, nobody knows? Math. But my math definition is different. Make Asian American think harder. Okay, that's the theme of the my presentation here. I just mentioned that we have 9% of the population in the New York State. Do you know how many legislators we have in New York? The total number is 213, 150 assembly members, 63 senators. In 2017, we had 1 Asian American. Yeah, we're good at math, right? 213.1. 2018, we have 2. The first one, 2017, was Ron Kim, who gave many talks here at APAPA. And second one, Yuling Niu from Chinatown. You know, Chinatown started in 1880. After 135 years, we elected first assembly member. In 2019, we had 2 state senators. Historical event, because we never had a senator with Asian American background. Kevin Thomas and John Lu. And Mr. John Lu going to be here within an hour. So he's going to travel from New York City to here just for this event. So that there are a lot of consequences of this. You know the budget of New York State? $180 billion. According to the data, almost nothing allocated to address issues relevant to Asian American. Why is that?
You never asked.
Because you have to have a representative in both Assembly and the Senate. Then you have a chance to form they call it caucus. Once you have a caucus, you can introduce a bill. Then you can address issues relevant to all the Asian community. A lot of issues, but right now, almost none. Out of $880 billion, nothing. And we pay tax, right? We pay way above average. Because most Asians are well off. But the political side, we are just, we have no voice. And an old saying, if you are at the table, or you are on the menu. You see what I'm saying? Right now, we all don't work together, we'll be on the menu. We pay tax, we don't get anything out of it. So that's the key message here. Again, I'm an Asian who likes PowerPoint. Okay, let me set it up. This is very important because we're not here just, we have to work together and fight for our future because 9% of the population in New York State. So that's very, very important. I can get this to work. Yes, we had our grand opening in 2016. We just passed the 3rd anniversary on September 10th. You know that many of the team members here were on the planning committee. We spent 6 months to do the planning, and we had 2 congressmen, Grace Mun from New York City, and Paul Tanko. Of course, the APAPA founder, C.C. In, from California was here. And CL USA, our sponsor, the CL USA, Sandy Chow was here. So one is a grassroots organization, the other one's the financial sponsor. Okay. So we had a good, this is not just a grand opening, it's the beginning of all the Asian community working together. That's the fundamental breakthrough. And you notice that Nepalese, Laxmi? Yeah, Laxmi is a Nepalese association president, and Ashok, I think Ashok is Tricia president. You know, they're the strongest organization, the Indian organization here. APAPA is the chair of Pakistani association, and we have Lee. Where's Lee? Lee. She's the current Chinese Community Center president, and we have Chinese Center board chair Li Wang. Can you imagine all the Chinese community or Asian community leaders all work together? It's a historic event, okay? We have to work together for good reason. That, basically we all our activity center around Civic Leadership Forum, internship program, and the voter registration. And this year we add 2020 census, because only 6 months from now, and most people are not aware of that. We miss one person, we're going to lose $2,000 per year to the state, and so that's going to be our next 6 months push. So we, you see that room? That's the first time ever in Albany. All the leaders sitting in one room. So that's a historical event. And the bottom, you see what happened there? Ron Kim. In 2017, Ron Kim made an announcement. He's going to form Asian American Legislative Caucus. Sorry, we're not allowed to use the word caucus. The last day, the Senate office said, no, change your banner. It was so sad. Many people were there. All the Asian people sitting there. You look at those two words. You can use whatever name you want. You're not allowed to use caucus. Because in 2017, you didn't have Asian American senator. It's a sad moment. Most of us remember. That means you're not at the table, you're not allowed to cut a pie. $100 billion pie. So everything has consequences. We have to work together. The Chinese American only represent 1% of the population. Indian, about 0.8%. Korean, 0.6%. You have to work together, we can get 7%. Otherwise, we have no future. Hispanic people did it, right? They unified all the Hispanic people together. They have a very strong Hispanic caucus in New York State legislature. Asian, even today, we have 2 newly elected senators. They're trying to form a caucus. Okay, so we have to work together. We had 2 civic leadership forums, and we try to learn that the basics of a U.S. political system. We are all immigrants. Most 90% are immigrants. So we have to learn. We have to, get involved. So we had Aliyah organized panel discussions. A very successful event. Paul Tanko came, gave a keynote. And that's very, very important for us. We have to understand the importance of voter registration and cast your vote and make a contribution to the right candidate. Make sure we understand their position on issues relevant to us. So that's the key. We all have to understand that. And after about a year or two, and we have a little bit of reputation. So one day I got a call from the governor's office. Oh yeah, governor's office. They asked us to get all the Asian American folks together. They're gonna have a commissioner to deliver Como's state of state. That's quite an honor. That's the first time ever. Because in the past, they don't know where to contact. Now they say, okay, go to APAPA. Ask APAPA to get all the Asian folks together. So that's a breakthrough. So it was a very successful event. And then I said, well, we are immigrants. We have to learn the basics of political activities. By the way, APAPA is a 501c3, non-profit, non-political. We do not endorse candidates. We do not make a political contribution, but we want to educate our voters. So that's the difference. So we had a Republican Party 101 and a Democratic Party 101. So we are non-partisan. So always we have to have a balance, but we want to educate our community. So that's the key message. The end of last year, the state government asked, hey, get all the Asian American community members together. We're gonna educate you. The definition of human right in New York State is much more broader definition. We learn a lot. Not only that, they even provide free legal help. That's important. We never heard about it. They have a whole bunch of lawyers. If you have human rights issues, civil rights issues, the lawyers will provide help. So every one of us will understand that. That's our taxpayers' money. We have to leverage that. So that's a good educational program. And commissioner present this definition in front of us. Commissioner is the highest position, that in the human rights division. And early this year, another commissioner, Lola Braham, gave a state of state presentation. It was state of state. Let's see. Yeah. So we had a Civic Leadership Forum at the Hindu Community Center. So we rotate from Chinese Community Center to Hindu, and today at the Muslim Community Center. So that's, we grow and we learn from each other. So that's very important. And now we have some recognition from the state level. And early this year, we had they call the White House Initiative on Asian American and Pacific Islanders. They teach us, the Small Business Administration teach us how to apply grants, how to apply loan from the government. They set aside percentage of a loan and grant to minorities, including Asian American. We didn't know that. So if you want to start your business, you look into that. That's a very good opportunity. Then we provide that service to the community. I think it's very, very useful. And in addition to the political actions, educational, we also organize an educational program on college admission. We had Jen Chen as the lecturer, give a lecture, and we also had the panels. I think Li Hua, Lily was sitting at the registration, and Nan Fang and Pratik was the panelist. We have 2 Harvard graduates, so the high power, that teach us how to write essays. That's very, very critical. So I wish I had a chance when I was in high school. So that's a very powerful lecture. Okay, let's change the subject. In order to develop political power in this country, you have to develop pipeline. The number 1 pipeline is a voters pipeline. You have to have a voter. The number 2, you have to have a pipeline of political leaders. So think about that. The internship program is very, very powerful to develop future leaders among all the Asian next generation. Because we're immigrants, it's very difficult for immigrants to become an elected official, but the next generations. So that's a very, very important program, and Lee started in 2017 very successful, and Phil. Oh, Phil. Our Clinton Park Town Supervisor, Phil, gave lectures on how to give an effective presentation for young people. That's very, very powerful. We really appreciate. And by the way, Phil is Lee's husband. Sorry. We're the matchmaker, so they met at a APAPA event. So that's good, right? That we, not only the political, not only the educational, we provide the opportunities. Oh, Ram is the Trisha leader, last year's president. You see that? You see, we all work together. So that's very, very important. Otherwise, we have no future. And 2018, Aliyah took it over and enhanced the program, and we start from 4 interns to 5 interns. They work in the Lieutenant Governor's office, can you imagine? Albany Mayor's office, County Executive's office, and also Cleveland Park Supervisor's office, and Center for Women. So very, very powerful and very successful program in 2018. Now this year, 2019, actually we identified, not me, Leah, Lily, and her team identified 11 positions. But unfortunately, we don't have enough funding to support 11, we support 8. Have you checked Senator Judy Brandt's website? You want to be an intern, you look at the criteria. You could win a Nobel Prize winner. Very, very strict, you know. You have to be a very high quality. This year we have 2 from Judy Brandt's office. See that? That's power. Why do we do all this? Each year, APAPA sponsors about 150 interns for 15 or 16 years already. Why are we doing this? There's so much effort, God. In California, they have a few interns, APAPA interns now, they're in the assembly member, they are senators. So we are about 20 years behind California, but we have to start somewhere. We have to start now. Very, very important. Hopefully, some of the interns will understand how the government runs, what the meaning of elected officials. Maybe 1 or 2 will become elected officials in the future. So that's the key. You know, we have to continue to work on this, and again, we have to provide training, and at this graduation ceremony, our beloved Congressman Paul Tanko and the Albany Mayor came to our internship graduation ceremony. Quite an honor for us. Voter registration is a very difficult task. We invite APIA Vote, a nonprofit national organization, to teach us how to do voter registration. But hard work, very difficult, we all understand. But we have to do it. The reason for that, from that organization, we found out we have 40,000 Asian in the capital district, 15,000 qualified voters, meaning you're a citizen, 18 years old or older. Can you imagine how many people actually registered? Out of 15,000, only 4,000. Only takes 3 minutes to fill out this form, voter registration form. Or you can do it online. So all of us, we have to work very hard to get those 11,000 people. Otherwise, we have no future, no future. So all the community leaders need to work together to find out who they are and ask them to register. And we went to the 11,000 people. Otherwise, we have no future, no future. So all the community leaders need to work together to find out who they are and ask them to register. And we went to the court when the naturalization swelling process, we asked them to register. We went to the festival nation, all the picnics. But it's very difficult, I have to admit. And this year we're gonna have more effort in the 2020 census. Okay. I'm an Asian who likes math, right? For a civic engagement organization in this mid-sized city, it's considered very successful. 60 life members in 3 years, very successful. And all the community leaders, as mentioned before, are already members. We organized 9 civic leadership forums. We interact with all the elected officials. Internship program, we sponsor 17 interns. Hopefully we will do more with the public support. And the other thing, more than 1,500 people attend our event. So that we want to get a message out to the elected official, to the city government, to the state government, to the community. We are here, we're gonna stay here, and all the Asian Americans can work together. So that's the key. Now I'd like to acknowledge all the volunteers, the sacrifice, spend time to do things for the community, and also thanks to all the generous donation from our community members. Without their generous donation, we cannot survive. So that's all I have. Make sure you understand that Sandy, Charles, CCA, they one's the founder, the other one's sponsored. They provide a lot of help to the community. Now I just want one more thing. Remember, in order to be at the table, we have to work hard together so that at the table or on the menu is our choice. Hopefully everybody understands that. You want to at the table, make decision, or on the menu, let other people make decision. Okay? So you know what I mean. So thank you all, and let's work together, and please join us. Thank you.
And I think, as you can tell, there are a lot of names that are repeated here. So we definitely could do with more volunteers, because this is important work, and I appreciate all that you have done and all the other volunteers have done. But if you want to volunteer, reach out to this guy so that we can have more volunteers. Thank you, please. So, do you want to turn that off, please? Or can I turn it off? Let's see.
Turn off the
Oh, look at that.
Oh, yeah.
I'm such a capable woman. So, thank you. So folks, I think this is I would say the most, or perhaps the second most important part of our event today, which is learning from people who have actually run campaigns to find out what's the magic that goes into that. So we're really appreciative of the time that they're spending with us today so we can learn from them. So I want to start by introducing one of our panelists at a time, and I would request that as I say your name, just if you can just come and stand here so people can look at you, and then have a seat, please. So why don't I start first with our moderator for today, Holly La. A politically engaged citizen. She's active with many capital district civic, political, and activist groups, and has served in leadership positions in nonprofit boards locally. She's experienced with political campaigns and most recently helped lead the 2018 New York State Senate campaign for a major party candidate. She is the parent of 2 active, happy children. Holly attended the University of Pennsylvania, and before she decided to become a stay-at-home parent and an active volunteer, her past work included university administration as well as running a business. Welcome, Holly. If you want to, I don't know, anywhere you want. In the middle of those 4 chairs, no, just kidding. Not possible. Yeah. Yeah, maybe that's a good idea to maybe start from one end as people go on. As you can tell, we're making things along as we go. The first panelist that I want to introduce is Greta Jensen. Greta is serving her first term on the Niskayuna School Board. She is a certified neurodiagnostics tech, also previously managed the practice for their family, a neurology practice for her family. Her professional background includes psychology and business. She has worked as a resident advisor for Covenant House in New York City and as a salesperson for Solomon Brothers. She's a graduate for the University of Virginia with a Bachelor of Arts degree in psychology and sociology. Jensen has served as a volunteer in countless organizations, and this year when she was elected our school board president, we are a small place. We're 20,000 people town. But if it's possible within a 20,000 people town, she won by a landslide. So definitely a beloved person in our community. Greta? Bijoy Dutta. Am I saying your name right?
Yeah.
Okay, thank you. Bijoy is the principal of the consulting and communications firm Brightside Communications. He's an experienced political consultant and campaign manager who has worked professionally in politics and communications for 21 years, even though he looks all of 26 years to me, but I don't know, maybe that was his childhood passion. Including work on campaigns for governor, state legislature, county executive, mayor, district attorney, sheriff, judge, and legislative caucuses. In recent years, he has managed or worked on successful campaigns that have elected 9 county-level judges, 7 county district attorneys, 3 mayors, 3 members of New York State Assembly, 2 county executives, 2 sheriffs, a county clerk, a county treasurer, and a partridge in a pear tree. He has also volunteered his time as the chairman of the Broome County Republican Committee since 2013, and he has been unanimously elected to this role 4 times. So we're really, really grateful for you to make the trip all the way from Binghamton. Thank you so much. So I made this amateur mistake of not asking you how to say your name right. I hope I will not say it incorrectly, and if I have, then please feel free to correct me, okay? Natalia Laktakia.
You said it perfectly.
Thank you. She is a speech-language pathologist who has lived in Saratoga Springs City School District for 2 years, and has moved to a Capital District only, 4 or 5 years ago?
About 5 years ago.
So pretty amazing that she's already a school board member there. She's a parent. She has a bachelor degree in psychology with a minor in Spanish from Penn State and a master's degree in speech-language pathology from the University of Utah. And she's currently on the Saratoga School School. Thank you. I'm sorry. I got all mixed up. So now I'm going to hand over the mic to people who are far more interesting than me. So Holly, here we go.
Thank you, Alia. All right, so let's get right into it. What I wanted to ask all the panelists to do briefly, the 2 school board members, can you give us a sort of civics 101 explanation of what is a school board member, what does the school board do? So Greta, would you start?
So in Niskayuna, and I don't know if it's the same thing as in Saratoga, but we have 7 board members. Okay, so, and what the board members do is make policy for the school district. We leave the implementation of the policy to the administrators, but we just deal with setting policy for our school district.
Yeah, the school board is the governing board for the district. We're really concerned with the vision, like Greta said, the policies. We're not in there with the kids every single day. We're not there implementing, like Greta said. We're just creating a vision for the district.
And then, Bijoy, maybe you would describe what does a county party do, and then what do you do as party chair?
So a county Republican Party or a county Democratic Party or even the minor third parties as well, really your main job first and foremost is to recruit candidates because even though it might be desirable to run for Congress or Senate or Assembly or some of the bigger races, it's often very difficult to find people to run for town board, town supervisor, village trustee, or school board like these folks have done. So that's actually one of the toughest jobs I have in my community is finding candidates. And then once you have candidates to run, the most important part of the job for a county party after that is to get the candidate on the ballot. Go out and get the signatures, follow the legal procedures that are required in order to get that candidate on the ballot. And then once they're on the ballot, obviously do whatever it takes to try and win, get the word out, the mailings and the door-to-door and things like that.
Thanks very much. So I wanted to ask the office holders, and maybe we'll start with Natalia this time. Did somebody ask you to run, or did you decide completely on your own? And if somebody asked you, who, and how many times did they have to ask you before you said yes?
Nobody asked me to run. I actually went to a group of new friends that I had made to ask them if I should run. I got involved in a couple local Saratoga groups, and after attending a few school board meetings and seeing what was happening in Saratoga, I said, well, I've dedicated my career to public education. Maybe I should run for the upcoming election. So I went to a couple friends who have run campaigns before, and I said, do you think I should run? And they said, yes. And I said, I don't know what I'm doing. How do I do it? And they said, oh, we'll help you. And that started the ball rolling.
So I was asked to run a few years ago, and at that point, my children had not had the experience of going through each level of schooling. So I didn't have an elementary, middle school, and high schooler at the time, and I just didn't feel like I was ready for it. And I was asked this year to run by several different people. I'm not going to disclose who they are. And I felt like because this year I had an elementary school child, a middle school child, and a high schooler, that I was at the point where I was ready to really run and try to make a difference in the school community. So that's how it happened.
Okay, and then for Bijoy, I wondered what are some of the things that the county party is looking for in general in candidates? And also, in your experience, how important is it that a potential candidate has already been active in local politics with the party? How much of a barrier is that if someone hasn't necessarily been active in local party politics?
So one of the first things that I look for in a candidate is that they actually want to run. As I kind of jokingly said a minute ago, that's one of the biggest challenges is finding someone who wants to be on the town board in some small rural town or even on city council in a city. But you want to look for somebody who obviously has enough time to dedicate to the position. Many of us, I don't know if your school boards are like this here, but they certainly are where I am. They're volunteer positions. My role as county party chairman is a volunteer position. So we all have day jobs that we have to worry about. We all have family and kids. So you want to find somebody who has enough time to dedicate to that position. And then beyond that, you want them to have qualifications, to be decent with budgets and numbers, to understand policy issues, whether it's running for school board or city council or whatever the office may be, that they can actually understand those issues and make educated, informed decisions when those important votes come before them.
And what about the how active they've been in?
So obviously it makes things easier if someone's been active in the party, for us, if they were a Republican committee member, or if they've been to events before, so they're not an unfamiliar face. But I don't think that's, if you haven't been active before, that's certainly not a barrier. Again, certainly not where I live, and throughout upstate New York where I've been involved in other campaigns, I haven't seen that as a barrier. Ultimately, if you find someone who's, intelligent, engaged, and wants to get involved in politics, which generally means they want to do something good for their community, I encourage that every chance we get.
Okay, so now again for the office holders, what surprised you most about the experience of running for office, the process of campaigning? Greta, I want to start with you.
So I think for school board, I didn't think it was going to be political. I went in naively thinking that, it's a nonpartisan position. And I just, you're all part of a very small community. So I just figured going in that it would be not political. It ended up being more political than I was expecting, and I never claimed to be a politician or didn't think I'd go beyond school board. So it was a little uncomfortable for me to deal with the political nature of the campaign. I felt really comfortable campaigning until that moment hit, and then I had to readjust and realize, okay, so this is political, this is a political position. So that was the biggest surprise for me.
There were a lot of surprises in my race, but I think that the most surprising thing for me was that canvassing is fun and it's easy. It's not tough. If somebody asks you to canvass for them, they're not making a big ask of you. You get to go typically with another friendly person and knock on doors and talk to people in your community. And that's a really, really good, fulfilling thing to do for 2 hours on a Saturday. And I did it for 8 hours a day every weekend for 11 weeks, and 2 hours a night every night. They would vote for me could really, be a fulfilling part of engaging in my community. And I had a lot of friends who canvassed for me who said, I never would have canvassed if it weren't for you, and now I will canvass for other people. Because it's fun, and you get to meet people who you live near. You get to meet your neighbors, and you get to meet the people who want the same things for your community as you do, because we all want to live in communities that are warm and embracing, and we want to treat our communities well.
I'm just going to piggyback off of that as well. I have to tell you that was my favorite part of campaigning. I really did not, I did not like the candidates form. That made me very nervous. But I have to say the days that I spent going door to door, they just were exhilarating, even when you had a couple different difficult doors. I just felt like meeting, it's really a lot easier than I ever thought it would be. So I agree with that as well.
That's nice to hear. Okay, what advice did you get as a first-time candidate that turned out to be wrong or turned out just to be not helpful? Was there any?
Well, now that we're a month away from the November election, I think that everybody sees political signs everywhere. I had a lot of people telling me that I needed political signs and I needed to get them up and in everybody's yard, and I actually don't like political signs. I think that they are divisive. I think that they're essentially psychological warfare, which sounds extreme, but I mean, it really does seem that way, and I felt like that when I went to people's doors and they would get angry that their neighbors had signs in their yards for other candidates. So I actually chose to ignore that advice, and I did not do political signs. And I actually had a lot of people who came to me saying that they voted for me because I chose to not do political signs. I actually donated the cost of 100 political signs to my school's lunch program. There are a lot of kids who cannot pay for lunch for whatever reason, not important to me. And so I donated the cost of those signs to that. And I had a lot of people who responded well to that. I think that political signs have their time and place, but like Greta said, I went into the school board election not thinking of it as a political race. I really thought of it as a community, I don't know, engagement. And so I had people angry at me. I had people who are political consultants telling me that I needed to do signs and that I would lose because I didn't. And political signs did not affect my ability to win.
So I was, somebody asked me to be on, or I was encouraged to be on a ticket. And it just did not feel comfortable for me because the one thing that I feel like my husband, oh, okay, so I was asked to pair up with one or two other candidates, you know, and campaign together, whether that be on the same sign or hand out each other's materials. And I think because, you know, we've been part of this community for about 13 years now, and one thing I have to say that I feel like my husband and I have tried to do all along the process is to not stay in one particular group, right? To just make sure that when we're out and about, we are engaging with as many people as we can outside of our own comfort zone and outside of our own circle. So the idea of joining a ticket, especially in a school board race that is very, you know, small and part of your community, it just did not sit right for me. And in the end, you know, I didn't need that to win to be successful, and nor do I think anyone else really needed that in the course of the race. So that was the advice that I did not take.